Hi, this is Sam's Situation with your host, Sam Rosen. I'm broadcasting live from Sunnyside, California, and I'm pleased to introduce one of my three guests for tonight, Stephen Hughes. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, it's great to be on your show, Sam, and I got a show tomorrow, and it's good I could deal with the support of this station, so let's get started.
Okay, and one of the main topics that's been going on this week is it's been a real reversal in the Pac-12 this season, but one team that's really stayed steady is the Stanford Cardinal, and being from the Bay Area, you should have a pretty good perspective of what's going on up there. After their win against Oregon, that huge upset last week, how do you think they're going to fare next week against UCLA?
Obviously, this is going to be a preview of the Pac-12 title game because UCLA has clinched the Pac-12 South Division since they beat USC just on Saturday. But Stanford needs to beat UCLA, though, to clinch it because Oregon still has the possibility of just coming up and winning the Pac-12 if Stanford loses and Oregon has to win the Civil War battle. But, Stanford, with this win, really solidifies himself as a really good team. They almost beat Notre Dame. A bad call late in the game cost the Cardinal to really upset the Notre Dame undefeated record, possibly, if it would have happened. But, Stanford, for right now, this game is going to be very big. And obviously the people, the faithful of the farm, really are into Stanford football right now. And it's all about the leadership of Kevin Hogan, who was just put into the starting position about 3 weeks ago at Colorado. Josh Nunez was not doing the job after losing to Washington. A big upset for Stanford in a bad note. But, it's a good thing that Stanford won against Oregon because if they didn't, they were probably going to a Holiday Bowl or something like that. Really bad bowl in a way. Stanford School is a BCS bowl, and I think that if they win against UCLA and then they play UCLA again and win and beat UCLA again, they got themselves BCS spots.
Yeah, all great points right there. Now, UCLA comes into this game against Stanford having pulled up a major win of their own against USC. Stanford did an absolutely exceptional job on that powerful Oregon offense last weekend. What do you expect them to do against UCLA? Do you think UCLA will put up the accustomed 30 to 40 points like they have been, or do you think Stanford will be able to control them just like they did with Oregon?
I think that they'll be just able to control it. I think that they'll carry over the success on the defensive end that they had in Eugene. They're going to bring it back to Stanford and really do some work against UCLA. Plus the fact that they'll have to do it again against UCLA in a week or two later if they beat UCLA. But I think that their defense is really going to help out. Chase Thomas is the leader of that defense. The linebacker, the senior linebacker, really has led the Cardinal into great situations on defensive ends, intersections, the sacks. They're just the key tackles that make everything so much simpler for the Stanford head coach, David Shaw. And it's amazing that the Cardinals even at this stage because Oregon, with the Notre Dame loss, the Washington loss, and the Oregon loss, this would have been a really underperforming season by the Cardinal with 3 lost games, only 9 wins.
So prediction time: who wins this big game in the Pac-12? UCLA or Stanford?
And Stanford in this one, the home field advantage really helps out really any team, but I can't really say that for right now. Oregon lost to Stanford, and they're one of the best home teams in the nation. But I got Stanford in this game. I think that their momentum and from that very big win against at the time number 2 Oregon really helps them with their confidence and really, especially offensively, led by Kevin Hogan, get the win over the Bruins and lead Stanford to their first Pac-12 North Division title.
Yeah, personally, I do think Stanford will win this game. I'm a UCLA fan hailing from right around Los Angeles, but Stanford to me looked very, very dominant defensively against an offense most people do think is the best in the country. So personally, I think Stanford will win. Agreeing with you on that. Okay, now let's jump gears into the broader spectra of the Pac-12. This has been a year where we've seen maybe the best Pac-12 in the last 10 years, with all these ranked teams. You know, you have UCLA back in the back in the Pac-12 title hunt. Oregon's been absolutely outstanding. Oregon State has really put on a great show this season. And then Arizona and Washington have also really been very good and very solid teams. So who do you think is going to take the Pac-12 title this year? Actually, first I'd like to hear who you think is going to make the championship out between Oregon and Stanford, and then who do you think will take the title?
Well, since Stanford will beat UCLA, they're guaranteed to win the Pac-12 North Division title, even if Oregon beats Oregon State in Oregon, because Stanford has the tiebreaker in one loss conference games. They have the advantage over Oregon after beating Oregon, so that really helps Stanford. That's really in Stanford's favor with their victory in Eugene last weekend. But I got Stanford and UCLA because UCLA already clinched it, like I said earlier. But it'll be a tough one. I can't make a prediction right now because I need to see what happens this weekend between these two teams. And after that game, I can really look at what's going to be the good things out of these teams, what was bad, and if those teams, if UCLA and Stanford are going to really use those factors and those negatives and turn them into positives in the Pac-12 title game.
Yep, all great points there. Okay, let's jump over. I'm going to be talking some California sports today. Quickly, let's just jump over to Cardinal basketball. Not something I'm really familiar with, but I would like to discuss it, seeing as they have been a very good team in the past. They haven't been as great in recent years, but what can you tell me and my viewers about the Stanford basketball team and their prospects for this season?
Well, you have Stanford, the NIT tournament champions, which is pretty much the silver medal of the whole Division I tournament. You have the big time tournament, the March Madness. That's the gold medal. But the silver medal is the invitation, the NIT, and it's a very big tournament in a way. You just got the teams that just barely didn't make it into the tournament. Stanford was a great team that didn't make it to the tournament. All teams like just off the top of my head, Villanova didn't make it, who was consistent, very good team, but had an off season last year, did not make it. But you had a great tournament going into it, and then Ray Lewis was in the locker room giving a pep talk, and just being able to just go out there and continue to battle and work hard like he has done throughout his entire NFL career. And I think that's really transmitted from the NIT championship game to this season. They're undefeated this year. They've played some low-key teams like Belmont, like Sacramento State. I think that as the season progresses, they're going to be in a tournament in Kansas City in about a week or two. It's I think it's in December, and the first team they're going to play is Missouri. Very good team, especially on the very. It's a very guard. It's a very. Let me put this into simple words. Missouri is a team that has guards. They have 3 or 4 stars that are guards, and they have a big man. That's pretty much what Missouri runs on. That's their system. And I think that for Stanford, they run a different system than a typical 2-guard, 2-forward, 1-center system. And I think that is kind of different from Missouri. It's different for any team to have a guard against 4 guards, but I think that Stanford is a very good team, and they should be playing with teams that are different in a way, with Missouri and with Duke and with teams like West Virginia. They're a sleeper in the Big East right now. Oh, actually, I could say Big 12 now. Texas. I could say Louisville. I think that the Stanford Louisville game will be really, really good. But look at him. He's the point guard for the Stanford team. I think he's good this year. Look at him as a possible Pac-12 Player of the Year, along with some other guys along the way from UCLA, Shabazz Muhammad, possibly the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. He just reinstated after NCAA investigation. So for Aaron, Sleeper,
Steven, you're breaking up, but what you have given me was a great recap of, or not recap, a preview of what we should expect from Stanford in football and basketball. Thank you for being on my show. Thanks a lot, Steven.
Hey, Shane, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, I'll talk to you later, too. Okay, now we're going to switch gears. We're still talking about college sports in the Pac-12, and we are talking about California sports today. So I'm going to hit it off with my favorite team in California. We're talking about UCLA, folks. Now, the UCLA Bruins last week pulled off one of the most, in my opinion, improbable wins in recent history in their football program. And it's not because they're not as talented as UCLA. It's because, not as talented as USC. It's really because it's such insurmountable odds for a UCLA team to be at a USC team that's that talented. You look at this UCLA roster, Brett Hundley, I don't think he's getting enough really deserved attention right now. Hundley with 2,973 yards and 25 touchdowns this season. Really, really playing great. He's rushed for 282 yards and 8 touchdowns. He is not great at accelerating, but when he gets going, man, you have to watch out. Jonathan Franklin nominated for the Running Back of the Year award, and he's really deserved that. Has played great as their running back. He is maybe one of the best UCLA running backs in the school's history, and really has been just one of the best backs in the country this season. At receiver, Shaq Evans has been kind of a surprise to me. He wasn't as heralded as many of UCLA's talent this season, but really having a great season. On the defensive end, Anthony Barr and Dayton Jones really picking it up for this UCLA team. Aaron Hester last week had a great day, opposite of Sheldon Price, who, to me, every time he gets put on the guy catches passes. They should really just throw at him. Sorry, Sheldon, you look like the prototypical corner, but you just are not very good right now. Overrated, in my opinion. Against Stanford, like I said, I think Stanford will win, but if they go to a championship game, I don't know, an inclination towards this UCLA team being able to top the Stanford team and going to their first Rose Bowl in a very long time. Okay, switching gears to the other LA college football team, and that's the USC Trojans. The Trojans have absolutely tanked this season. They were supposed to be the best team in the country this season, and you know what happened? They tanked. Like I just said, tanked. Robert Woods and Marquise Lee should have this offense with so much firepower doing so much better, but no. You know, you look at their new quarterback, redshirt freshman Max Whittick, and it's safe to say he's a pretty decent quarterback, was a 4-star recruit out of Mater Dei, the alma mater of Matt Barkley. But this could be a scary, scary week coming up for this team against a very, very, very good, sorry, got a little messed up here. Very good Notre Dame team. Sorry, I don't know how I forgot that. It's a huge matchup. But against Notre Dame, I think they might get blown out. Their defense has really, really underperformed this season. And, you know, it's almost a safe bet now that this team could go 7-5. I cannot remember in recent history when a USC team has gone 7-5. Since my lifetime, this team has been one of the top premier powers in football, even after these not suspensions, but probations they've received. They've still been a very good, solid team. This year's supposed to take the BCS National Championship game. I actually picked them to do that, and they've really underperformed. Jumping to men's basketball, for UCLA, tonight against Georgetown was an utter disaster. And right now, I'm calling for Ben Howland's head. I am sick of his coaching. He needs to be fired, people. This guy, he has people run around the floor. They cannot beat a zone defense because of it. They don't move the ball. Every time they got the ball to Kyle Anderson in the paint, they made something happen. Well, what happened? They didn't do that. They let Kyle Anderson, a slow point guard, maybe the slowest I've ever seen, really. He's 6'9", I can't blame him. but when he gets in the paint, he is such a remarkable